Hey guys, this is Daniel Mitchell with Plumb Delusional Podcast. We're coming back at you from our new studio down here at the Dungeon. We bought a new building down here and built us a podcast studio where we could shoot our own podcast when we wanted to and have who we wanted to down here. And today we're going to have back in the studio with us is Kenneth Ash with K&A Electric. He does all of our electrical work. Me and him partner on a couple of things, and it's good to have him with us. Kenneth, you want to introduce yourself and kind of?
Yeah, so Kenneth Ash, y'all probably seen the face, know the name, K&A Electric, residential, commercial, bucket truck work, parking lot lighting, anything of that needs. And we can also help with a lot of other needs as we've got contacts with people like Daniel that can take care of anything for you. So Daniel, I appreciate you having us on.
Oh, no problem. The weather's been great, so y'all probably been like us. Y'all probably been slammed to the gills, ain't you?
Well, it's been about, the earliest I've gotten home this week so far has been about 6:30.
Yeah. That's me too. The guys, I'm going to have more in overtime this week than I'm going to be able to. I'm going to have to go get sell a kidney to pay overtime, you know.
Some weeks it's like that though.
It happens. That is the great thing of owning a small business is Addison Fields told me one time, said, owning a small business is having the greatest day and the worst day every 5 minutes of your life.
Yep.
And that's the truth. I mean, you can be on a high 1 minute and a low the next minute.
Everything fluctuates like this constantly.
Well,
especially your bank account.
Like this week, we've had a good week. But last week, I had we broke one of the new track hoe. We broke it. It was just a freak accident. My portable restroom truck got stopped by the DOT, had to have a bunch of stuff fixed on it that we had been letting go because we've been so busy. Mm-hmm. So we had to bite that bullet. And then the flywheel broke on one of my delivery trucks. Mm. So, I mean, I just broke out of nowhere. So I had 3 trucks down. We got one of our good technicians, him and his wife's getting ready to have a baby. So they've been going back and forth with the doctor, and we're trying to buckling down, getting ready to lose him for a couple of weeks on maternity leave. And then, on top of that, everybody else has got kids that work here, so they have time to go off. So we've all been working around their schedules and stuff like that. And then on top of that, your phone rings constantly, you know, just like this one right here.
That's a never-ending game.
Yeah, it is. They know what I was going to do, so they're still calling me. But I tell you, I do feel fortunate. I'm sure you do too, to Absolutely. Have the amount of work, and I feel fortunate to have the guys I've got because my guys don't complain about working.
We've got guys that complain if there's not enough work.
Well,
you know, most of our guys want more than 40 hours a week, which, you know, I'm a family guy. You know that. I've got kids of my own and a wife. I want to be at home with my family just as much as anybody else out there. So I try to ensure that my guys have their family time because, at least, you know, a little over half our crew has guys,
right,
or has kids. So I want to make sure that they're there because I didn't get to see, you know, when they was infants, I didn't get to see that part of their life as we were starting this business. So I try to do that as much as I can, but I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I feel blessed. I do to be able to be where we're at now, for sure.
Well, I have my oldest daughter. She's 22 and August, and or 23. She's 2001, whatever that. So she'll be 23, won't she? So 23 in August. That makes me older, but she'll be 23 in August. And she didn't see me when I was. She did. My mom, which bless her heart, she's dead and gone now. Right, kind of raised her as when I was out working and stuff like that. But when you're younger, you don't realize you need to do some of the family stuff. So I do the same thing. I want my guys to get plenty of overtime because some of them finance, you know, they base their finances on overtime.
Right.
Because I had one last week, him and his wife was she was out with surgery, so he had to be out. So, and when my guys are out, I pay them 40 hours, whether they come in or not, just appreciation and to show them that, you know, and I learned a long time ago, and this is my motto, and I think, man, you've talked about it, is it's easier to retain than it is to retrain.
Right.
And that's what my motto is with my employees. I want to retain them instead of having to retrain an employee every year or something like that. But anyway, he was out and he come to TCA. He said, I appreciate everything. He said, but boy, I missed that overtime last week. I want to get it this week. So he's worked a little extra overtime this week. And, which they can take, we got one guy that runs on call on the weekend, so he can get a few hours in. So he's took it a couple of times like that, but he's got a newborn at home. His wife's been sick. So, I know the importance of being able to go get home, take care of your family, and work balance is important.
There's not much of it though.
Right.
Especially it's for us, but thankfully for us, we were able to involve our wives into the work. So the work balance kind of flows out a little bit better, but not as much as we'd like some days.
Well, yeah, that's, my wife runs my office just like yours does too, but sometimes it's hard for me and her sometimes to cut the office off.
Right. The boss mode.
The did you do this? Did you do that? I'll be at home doing it and she'll be like, honey, we're home. We just need to, and I have a hard time with that, which I think anybody that runs their own business is probably going to have a hard time with that, because you're constantly, I don't know about you, but I figure everybody's the same way. I'm constantly thinking about my next move.
Yes. Well, you have to, because your guys depend on you. So
right.
If you're not thinking about the next move, what are they going to do tomorrow?
Right.
So
that's it. I'm worried about, if we've got plenty of work, I'm worried about how we're going to get it done.
Yep.
If we've got just enough work, I'm worried about not having a surplus of work.
Right.
So there's never no place to stop. There's never no place to jog in place, I guess is what I say. Or
it's constant stress. I think we talked about this on our last podcast on a drive-through when we did a one, and we talked about how business owners, everybody just looks at us like, oh, they're making millions of dollars and their life is so easy, but they don't realize it's stressful.
It is.
It's not easy. We're not out here making millions of dollars. We've got other families depending upon us to ensure that they can eat or they can feed their children and their wives. So it's a lot more of a stress and a headache on us than what most people realize. It's not just fun and games.
Well, it's like I tell my guys sometimes, there's weeks that they make more than I do. Than I do.
Yeah.
But I tell them, and I'm not going to lie to them, I'll get caught up, it'll catch me up. If the company don't make a good week that week and they make more, it catches up. I don't try to lie to them about that. We make money. If ain't a viable company, they ain't on even doing it.
Right.
But, we just got through, me and you was talking about before we started the podcast, it's tax season. We just got it behind us. So we sweated that bullet. It's over.
Yeah. The one of the worst days that you can have as a business owner.
Yeah. A lot of people running around here and go, I want my W-2 where I can get my tax refund.
Yeah. Get 12, 14 grand back.
Right. Well, as a business owner, that's not the case. You're trying to figure out where you're going to get that $12,000 or $14,000 to pay, sometimes more.
Yeah. Most of the time more. Yeah. If you're running a legitimate business.
Right.
So
that you nailed it.
Yep.
Legitimate. That's another thing that's stressful. I mean, it's one of the things where you see these other companies out there and they're running without liability insurance. They're running without license. They're running without workman's comp. They're not running DOT.
Half of them's not even licensed.
Right. And I kind of get on my soapbox. My wife says that's your soapbox. Well, yeah, it is, because I put so much money into making my company legit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but people don't realize how much it cost us to be legit, but they wonder why this guy's half our price, but they don't compare apples to apples. They do it apples to oranges. I was speaking with a guy, it's been a couple of weeks back now, done a full remodel. From the framing to the insulation, sheetrock, the plumbing, the electrical, everything, all mechanicals and everything.
Yeah.
With zero license behind him to back any of it. So now if anything goes wrong, what does the customer have to fall back on?
Well, that's what I don't understand is, we can go out and do a simple service call.
Mm-hmm.
And if we get it wrong, we're held to a high standard.
We are.
And I've been behind some of these guys, I like to call them chucks in a truck.
Yeah, that's what they are.
And I've been behind them, and the homeowner will be like, well, I hired this guy and he messed all this up. Well, what did you do? Nothing. What am I going to do? Mm-hmm. Well, what are you going to do to me? Well, you got insurance, don't you? Yeah, I got insurance. Well, just because he don't, he gets to, go around and do stuff.
He gets a free ride.
Right. Well, that's the way I feel about it.
Right.
It'll eventually catch up. The thing about it is I don't know if it'll catch up with them as much as it will the homeowner. And that's what I tell homeowners all the time. You've got to vet your tradesman, because the insurance that I carry is not for myself.
No, it's not.
It's for the homeowner.
It is, yeah.
It
helps protect them. And this gets me fired up. I'm trying not to get fired up over this because I deal with it so much, even in our hometown right here in Lafayette, Georgia, of just chucking the trucks, like you said, unlicensed electricians, none of them carrying general liability, none of them carrying liability insurance. None of them even own a legitimate company. They're just driving down the road, and they hire Joe Blow down here off the street, some crackhead, and bring him in to wire a house or do whatever, and then they can do it thousands of dollars cheaper than us. And that cuts my guys out of work, because we're paying legitimate guys to do this thing,
right, with
legitimate overhead, but yet we are all the time getting cutthroat thousands of dollars most of the time by all these other people, and it ends up hurting us and the homeowner at the end. But it's just very irritating. And then certain counties and certain cities will continue to allow those people to work.
Yeah, I do got to say, Lafayette. City of Lafayette is really cracking down on it. They're really coming to the front on it. Catoosa County, but now Walker County, they still got a little ways to go, but we didn't even have no codes in hardly in Walker County till, really this year. And Brandon and Jack and all them, I think they're doing a wonderful job. I just think, I think there are some things we need to get, figured on out. That way, if you're coming out to inspect electrical, you need a licensed electrician,
correct,
on that permit. If you're coming out to do plumbing, you need a licensed plumber on that permit, because we just done a remodel of a facility up off of Straight Gut Road, and they had come down with a 3-inch pipe. It was a remodel, and it had been permitted. They come down with a 3-inch pipe, found a 2-inch pipe going into the slab, and put a reducer, and was flushing a commode from upstairs down to that 2-inch pipe through that reducer. Well, it was therefore running off and leaving the solids and squeezing down that 2-inch pipe and going into the 3-inch when it got down into the bottom of the 2-inch, but it was stopping everything up, flooding the house. So we busted up the floor, tore a wall out, took a tub out, had to redo it. And somebody put that in there knowingly and left it.
Yeah.
And there's no repercussion or recourse that the owner can go through. But now, if that would have been a company like Mitchell's Plumbing or K&A Electric, which, you've been in business for a good while now. Your company's a little bit younger than mine, because my dad started mine.
Right.
But we've both got a building that they know where to find us.
Right. They can pull up and see somebody at our office Monday through Friday.
Right. And that's not only that, we have Facebook pages, we have Google pages. I know you do, I do. Our Google reviews are important to us.
They are, yes. They're extremely important.
Because people out there that's looking for a plumber or electrician are definitely going to look at Google reviews. I do.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to try a new restaurant, sometimes I'll see, how the Google reviews are.
Well, even when my wife books a room, it's got to have a 9-star or better.
Yeah.
So if we're going out of town. So reviews are extremely important for us. And Google reviews are, they're just extremely important for a small business to have.
That was my handy dandy media team.
Little distraction going on. But Google reviews all the way across the board for every business is extremely important if they're legitimate and they have a Google.
Yeah. And we've seen that. We have realized how social media drives sales at our place. I mean, man, you've talked about it. I mean, and that's another thing that we spend a lot of money on is getting, our name out there on social media and stuff like that. And
it's the thing of the future now.
Right. And it's a everybody, nobody looks in a phone book anymore.
No. Or Craigslist.
There's probably kids out there that don't even know what a phone book is.
Yeah.
So there's another one of my calls. But but a phone book's about like a VHS.
Extinct. Almost.
If for y'all out there that don't know what a VHS is, that was a tape you put in a VCR and it played a movie.
And you could rewind it.
That predated the DVR, which y'all may not know what a DVR is. That was a disc. It went in a thing.
Right.
You played it.
That you didn't have to rewind.
Right. When we was growing up, you just couldn't speak the name of the movie to your remote and it come on. Believe it or not.
Well, you remember Blockbuster and all those. Man, that was some of the funnest nights, though.
We hung out at That's where I would hang out at Blockbuster. And that's where we'd part. We'd hang out at Blockbuster. And then on Saturday nights, we'd get some movies and we'd go back, eat popcorn and watch movies and hang out with our girlfriends and stuff like that. I mean, the movie stores was the place when we was.
Yeah. That and movie theaters, but now I think movie theaters are eventually going to become a thing of the past now.
Yeah, I mean.
Slowly.
Every time I go, there's not a lot of people there.
No, there's not. And you can just buy it. You can stream it on your TV at home.
Right. I mean.
And eat your own bag of popcorn.
Right. And to be honest with you, there's some movies I want to see bad enough. I'll go to the theater, but most of the time we wait on a movie to come to the house and sit on the couch and
Netflix or Hulu or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and like Xfinity now. I mean, on Xfinity on demand, you can get the new movies after they're out like 7 days. They come on Xfinity. So I mean, so I said all that to say that you've got to stay on the cusp of the future anyway. That's another thing that we spend a lot of time and money on. I just got through this week going to continuing education to learn the new codes, the stuff that you're supposed to do.
Right.
As
a business owner.
Mm-hmm, as a business owner and a legit company.
Right.
I mean, you probably got to have so many hours of.
I do it every year for every state that we're in. Right. I have to do it every year.
Right. So. I have to go to Tennessee. I have to go to Georgia, and then I have to do my septic tank and field line. I have to do plumbing, and I have to do my general contractors.
Yeah, you got a lot.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
but the thing about it is, I got the general contractors was something that we done because we build houses and resell them. Mm-hmm. I like to do that, and then we do a lot of bathroom remodels and kitchen remodels.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to be able to say, I can't preach the fact that you ought to have the license to do this stuff if I'm a plumber doing GC stuff.
Right.
So and I don't want to be a GC doing plumbing stuff. So I got my GC license. I can do my plumbing stuff and you do my electrical. Right. So I'm covered, and then Neil's Heating and Air does my heating and air.
Yeah. We need to get Nathan on one.
Yeah, we do need to get Nathan down here. I did think about that, but he must be doing better than us. He was off today.
Oh, well.
I run into him.
Good Friday.
It's Good Friday. His office was closed. But I do want to wish everybody a happy Easter.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy Easter out there. I don't know when you'll be releasing this, but.
Well, I'm as fast as the media team gets it edited.
Yeah. Before Easter. Yeah. You've got tonight and tomorrow. So.
Yeah. But if you see this afterwards, we hope you had a good Easter.
Yeah, that's right.
Hope everybody blessed, and I hope it was a beautiful day, and I hope you got to go to church somewhere.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, even if you don't.
Yeah, we hope you have a great day either way, but we do hope that we get to see you in a church somewhere. So, for sure.
But it's one of them things where community. I guess when we're talking like that, we're talking about community. Mm-hmm. We everybody. Everybody today I've talked to, Mr. Clegger that runs the roof, and he wished me a happy, a happy Easter. I guess that's what's got it on my mind, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Lafayette. That's one thing I like about Walker County, Lafayette. It's a pretty tight knit community.
Everybody knows everybody.
Right. That's just like the tragic accident we had on 27 up there. I mean, I think pretty much so it touched everybody in Walker County.
Yeah.
Everybody, if you didn't know them or was kin to them, you had heard about them, their family, or somebody in their family.
Yeah. And everybody pitched together and made sure that everything's taken care of them.
Right. They're doing their best, and we want to. That's another thing. I want to send out our condolences and our heartfelt prayers for the recovery of Cooper. That way he can get back out there and everything, and touch. We want to say we are thinking about the Mitchell family and the Beavers family.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, tragic accidents there.
That's one thing. As a business owner, you can't forget your empathy. I think it's easy to do because of the way people treat us sometimes.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to remember some days. As being a business owner, they just want to, I ain't gonna say treat you like a doormat, but pretty much treat you like a doormat. Most people, I ain't gonna say all, but a lot of people.
Well, there's one or two out there that it's like the saying goes, one or two bad apples will spoil the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
There's days that I come home and I'm like, people are just awful, but it's not everybody. It's not. It's just the people I've worked for, that day or something. And they're not bad every day. They've had a bad day. Something we've done ain't been exactly right. But, I try to tell people all the time, we try to be perfect, but we're not.
Yeah. We can't be perfect.
No.
We'll never be perfect. So that's just the nature of it right there. Yesterday we had a lady call in. One of our guys was driving. She was just having a horrible day. At first I'm like, oh, okay, one of my guys is driving crazy.
Right.
She
and
called
I don't put that past one of my guys to do.
Right. And I don't put it past any of my guys just to be on the safe side. I want to hear both sides of the story. Yeah. So she's like, I had to move up 4 more foot at the red light and he was just going crazy. And once she got calmed down, I said, ma'am, what'd he do? Well, he was right there behind me. Well, I mean, you're in traffic. He's going to be right behind you. So, what was the issue? Come to find out she had lost her dad. She had been having a rough day. It ended up turning out to be great because we was able to pray with her and everything and, kind of lift her spirits a little bit. And when she hung up the phone, she was like, I appreciate you. And if I ever need an electrician, I'll give you a call. So
that's what
days like that makes it worth it.
And that's what I say about sometimes you got to keep your empathy. You've got to keep your head on your shoulders. We have to keep our heads cooler sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm bad about it. If I'm, if I get a hot head, but usually I don't have a problem till I've had 7 or 8 things just go, or 7 or 8 days. But like you said, that woman had a bad day,
Yeah. And I didn't know that.
Right. Well,
if I'd been a jerk to her, she'd had an even worse day.
But she calls you and, you'd had a bad day. One of your kids got in trouble at school or something, you'd had a bad day. Your wife been sick and you've been having to stay up at night. I mean, I've had that situation, but then 2 bads, two wrongs don't ever make a right, as they say. And that's one thing we have to, as business owners, a lot of times we have to bite our bottom lip and smile, whether we're in the wrong or we're in the right. I had an instance this week. Went out to work on a well pump. We pulled the well pump. Guy, it was a secondary water source for him. He asked me, he said, what do you, what he did? We told him what it would charge to pull the well pump. When we pulled it, well pump was bad. Well, then he wanted to know what we'd charge to put in a new well pump. Well, the pump he had was a 3/4 horse pump. It's $1,180 brand new. So I told him he was looking at somewhere with pulling it, putting it back in. He was looking at somewhere around $1,800.
That's cheap.
Well, I thought I was trying to be reasonable.
Yeah.
And that's new wire. I mean, by the time he was done, well, he got aggravated with me, told me not to come back, give me a bad Google review. Well, 2 days later, Google review comes down. He calls me. He said, I wanted to apologize. He had priced it around and realized I was very competitive is what he told me. Very competitive, but he wasn't going to put the well back in because he was on county water and he just didn't have the money to spend on it. But he wanted to let me know that, but if I'd have just, if I'd have lost it and went off on him, it would have been a bad situation. So it kind of handled itself out. But as business owners, we deal with some of the craziest stuff
on a daily basis.
Yeah.
On an hourly basis. Let me on an hourly basis. we get some of the craziest phone calls or some of the craziest mistakes happen. And it's a nonstop everyday occurrance.
Well, you've got 5 or 6, 8 guys. I got 5 or 6, 8 guys. And every time my phone rings, while we've been doing the podcast, I've had 2 phone calls. And I know when I get off here, I'm going to call it and they're going to ask me something that's going on, something that's wrong. But a lot of times it's nothing major, but it's just little things. It's just 100 little things you got to answer.
Yep.
And then everybody that's building a house or doing a job, this as well as I do, they're in a hurry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we're in a hurry all the time, but we got 8 places to be in a hurry to at one time.
Yeah. And not enough manpower to get to all 8 places all at one time.
Right. And that's one thing we're doing some restructuring now to put my son-in-law out trying to help me do some of the stuff I'm doing because I'm getting behind on estimating, job management, quality control, and I can see it.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of little jobs that took longer than I thought they ought to, or we had a sub come out and do some work that we wouldn't approved if we'd have been there with the sub. So I've got to get boots on the job more because we're doing more and stuff like that. We, as a owner, I try to head off problems as much as I can.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just can't.
Well, it takes a team. I talked about this on our last podcast too. It takes a team. If you don't have a team, what do you have? One person didn't build the world, or one person didn't build the biggest skyscraper or nothing like that. It took a team.
No.
Look at all these bigger companies. It's a team effort.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And it's like when they built the pyramids. They had to work together to build the pyramids.
Yeah.
Even if they did build them way under the ground. And did you see that where they felt them purlins that went down in the ground?
I did. What'd they do? Was it with a camera or did they stick something down in there?
I've seen a little bit of it. I've been going to watch the documentary because, if them things was actually towers, that means that's a lot of sand on them or something.
Yeah. Well,
that
was that was engineering in its finest back then. Though.
Yeah, that was probably plumbers.
Yeah. Well, or electricians because it's still there.
They have power.
Well,
at the 5-minute mark, if you want to talk about something in particular.
Something in particular. No.
What does in particular mean?
I think that's one specific thing.
Well, I know, but we're just talking about it, so.
Yeah. We like to give Diego a hard time.
Yeah.
We'll get him on here one day. He'll be able to tell what it's like to work for a bunch of construction workers doing filming.
It's got to be rough some days.
But no, in particular, I guess if we're headed into closing and stuff like that, I just want, if you're watching this and if you're going out to start a project, make sure you know your contractor, your electrician, your plumber, and you ain't got to know them like, they're my buddy.
Right.
State of Georgia, Secretary of State of Georgia has a website you can go on to do a licensee research.
Yep.
Check to see if you can check my license, his license, anybody's license that's going to work for you. Contractors, plumbing, electrical. State of Tennessee has the same thing.
Exact same thing.
And I'm sure Alabama does. I've never checked in Alabama.
They probably do. I think every state has a similar program.
Right. And it tells what license rescind to each state.
Right.
Because you can, if you've got, I think you can rescind the Alabama or Georgia license now or something like that. But, it's just, and there's different licenses. There's master plumber, there's master, is there master electrician? Is that how that works?
There's 2 levels. There's restricted and unrestricted. So.
Well, there's plumbers is journeyman, masters, and then masters unrestricted. So there's 3 levels of plumbing. I have masters unrestricted, so I can do, anything.
Mm-hmm.
But, journeyman's that they supposed to work for a master.
Correct.
And then masters can do their own thing. And then, and then on general contractors, there's general residential and general residential light commercial, and then general contracted commercial and residential.
Yeah.
And then there's agents of that somebody's just using somebody else's license.
licensed under somebody else.
Right.
They're just supposed to be working for somebody
them.
else. Yeah.
But that's another thing. I don't know exactly how the insurance would work on that because, that's GCing's a big thing. I mean, I've done some whole houses lately.
Yeah.
And it's a big undertaking and you're a big responsibility because you're responsible for that house for a year. I mean, so I guess if you're going to build a house, do a remodel, make sure make sure you get a professional. Yeah,
look at Google reviews. Go on Facebook, see how much they're on there. I mean, you could look it up. I mean, even podcasts. A lot of people are doing podcasts now. But ask around town. Ask your community about them. Ask your friends, family, coworkers, things like that. They'll be able to tell you a lot about who you're talking to or talking with. So
that and most of the time. I know I do free estimates.
Mm-hmm.
If you're worried about the price, call us. Let us come out and give you a quote. Don't just think we're high because we are legit. A lot of times we're not that much higher in the long run because if you can get it done right the first time,
you don't have to call us
and you've saved money.
Right. That's what you end up paying for it 3 times if you hire Chuck in a truck because you pay for him, then we got to undo it. You finally call us. We've got to undo it. And then we got to fix it the correct way. So you're paying for it 3 times. Right.
I've got one right now. And the lady's wanting, I went out and priced it. She thought I was high. She got a Chuck in a truck. He done it. Now I'm going to tear his out and do it again. It's going to cost more.
Yep.
So that's the way it goes. But we're running out of time this afternoon. I'm Daniel Mitchell with Mitchell's Plumbing. And this is Kenneth.
With K&D Electric.
And where can they find you at, Kenneth?
They can find us at 6747 Highway 27 in Rock Springs, Georgia.
Now, if we're going to call and get a hold of you, what's your number?
You can get a hold of us at 423-443-9460. That'll take you directly to the office.
All right. Well, that's Plumb Delusional. I'm Daniel Mitchell with Mitchell's Plumbing. We appreciate you turning into Plumb Delusional. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible, and all the major platforms. And we'll see you soon. Later. All right, let me figure that out when it comes to All right. I saw where you tried to call me. I was on a podcast.